What's up, YouTube? Today I'm in Birmingham, Alabama, and we're going to be doing a little video of the 16th Street Baptist Church. And today it's a pretty sunny day. There's a tour bus out in front, so it might be a little loud. But a little history about this church. The church was organized as the first colored Baptist church in Birmingham. It was built in 1873, just 2 years after Birmingham was founded. It was in two separate locations before it was built here on the corner of 16th Street and 6th Avenue North. In 1884 it was completed. And this here is the this right here is the all that remains from the 1884 church, because in 1908 the city condemned the building and ordered it to be demolished. Now the present building, which we're looking at now, was constructed by a prominent black architect named Wallace Rayfield. The cost was about $26,000. In addition to the main sanctuary, it had a basement auditorium that was used for lectures and meetings, and smaller rooms were used for Sunday school. Okay, now we're fixing to go past the tour bus, so it might be a little loud, but I'm trying to still talk about it. It was used for Sunday schools, and now during the civil rights movement of the 60s, it was used as a mass meetings for rally points for African Americans. And some of the prominent speakers here was Reverend Al Shuttlesworth, James Bevel, and also Martin Luther King Jr. I'm just getting a little picture of it. Now what makes this church so historic is a senseless act that happened in September 15th of 1963. And on that day, 4 Ku Klux Klan members planted sticks of dynamite beside the church. And I'll take you and show you about where it was at. So you can see the side of the church. Now it's a little more quieter on the side here. The tour bus was in front. Sorry about that. But I'm gonna take you and I'll show you a side picture of it. So right here, as you can see, there's a little monument here. And right here is where they planted the sticks of dynamite. I'm going to back up a little bit and show you a side view of it. So that's what it looks like now. This is what it looks like after the bomb exploded. As you can see, right there at the corner, so right there at that window is where the sticks of dynamite was planted. Now Martin Luther King Jr. had said that the bombing was the most vicious and tragic crimes that perpetrated against humanity. Because of the cowards that did this, 4 little girls were murdered. And their names were Addie Mae Collins, Denise McNair, Carol Robinson, and Cynthia Wesley. Although the FBI knew the 4 that did it, it took 12 years before one of them could be convicted of that crime, and his name was Robert Chambliss. He was convicted of first-degree murder of 11-year-old Carol McNair. It took another 25 years to convict two more, Thomas Edwin Blayton Jr. and Bobby Frank Cherry. The fourth one, Herman Cash, was never charged with the alleged involvement in the bombing. He died in 1994. Now, during the years leading up to the bombing, Birmingham had a national reputation for being a tense, violent, and racial segregated city, with many black homes and business being bombed, but none of those bombings resulted in fatalities until the church. And those attacks earned the city the name Birmingham. Now, back to that horrible morning in September. After the Klansmen planted the dynamite with a time delay under the steps of the building close to the basement, an anonymous man called the church. He told the Sunday school secretary 3 minutes and hung up. Less than a minute later, the bomb exploded. Now, 5 girls was in the basement changing into their choir robes. The explosion blew a 7-foot hole in diameter into the wall. It also blew a passing motorist out of his car, and so several other cars and properties were damaged. All girls were pronounced dead at Hillman Emergency Hospital, which is now UAB. Now we're going to travel to 2 separate locations and I'll pay our respects to the 4 girls. I will also show you at least one of the bombers are buried. And this church is, you can take a little tour. It's right across the street from the Civil Rights Museum, and also we have Kelly Ingram Park is right over there in the corner. It's very nice. I'd recommend coming and checking it out. But just hang in there. I got probably about a 5-minute drive to the cemetery, and we'll see you then. Okay, so now we're out here at Greenwood Cemetery. It's located by the airport. Now, they named the airport, I think it's like Birmingham Shuttlesworth, for the Reverend Shuttlesworth that preached at the 16th Baptist Church. But we're first going to try to find the grave of Addie Mae Collins. Now, Addie Mae was born April 18th of 1994, and she was the 7th of 8 children, and she loved playing softball. She attended Hill Cemetery School. She loved to act, and her sister Sarah was one of the many that were injured in the bombing as well. Sarah lost an eye, and she's spoken about that tragic day, saying that group of girls arrived late at the church and went straight to the bathroom downstairs to freshen up after the long walk. I guess it was, hot and everything that morning. She turned to watch her sister Addie tie the sash of Denise's dress when she heard the bomb go off. And right here is Addie Mae Collins. Let me get out the sun so you can see. Civil rights martyr, Addie Mae Collins, April 18th, 1949, September 15th, 1963. She died so that freedom might live. And that is Addie Mae Collins. Now we're going to try to find Cynthia Wesley, and she is buried not too far, actually right next to Addie Mae Collins, and she is right here. Sorry, the sun is directly behind me, so it's casting the shadow. Let me try to get out of the way. And that's Estelle Turner, Claude, Gertrude, and Cynthia Dion Wesley. 4:30, 49, 9:15, 63. And a little bit about Miss Cynthia is she loved math, reading, and playing in the band. Now there's a story that Cynthia's real last name is Morris, and Fate Morris, who says to be Cynthia's brother, says that, let me get out of the sun here, says that that Cynthia would stay at the Wesleys so she can attend a better school, and says she would come home on the weekends. And it's reported that Wesley's adopted Cynthia, but all I know is she did not deserve what happened to her. And that is Miss Cynthia Wesley. Okay, now we're going to go try to find Carol Robinson. She was the third child born to Alpha and Alvin Robinson. She sang and played the clarinet in elementary. She attended Parker High School, where she was a straight A student. She was in the Girl Scout, a member of the Jack and Jill Club. Now she had a separate funeral than the other girls because reportedly Carol's mother was distressed about a remark made by Martin Luther King, who had said that the mindset that embattled the murder of the 4 girls were the apathy and complacency of black people in Alabama. In other words, just lack of concern or emotion. Okay, so let's see, I think, yeah, she is buried right up here. And they got a marker, I'm sorry, tripping over tree stumps. They got it roped off, and they got a little monument here. Here's Carol Robinson, and let's see here. This is here is her dad and her mom. I'll try to get a better view in just a second. But that is Carol Robinson. And there's a marker in loving memory of the 4 little girls, Addie Mae Collins, Denise McNair, Cynthia Wesley, and Carol Robinson, from the Jack and Jill of America Incorporated. Like I said, that's her parents there. So this is her dad here, Calvin Robinson. Now I'll tell you, I came out here once before, and there was no flowers. It was really, they really fixed it up. Let me give you a look at it. It looks like they're still doing it, which is very nice. But that's, there she is there. And they kind of got it stringed off. I guess they want the flowers to grow. And I don't blame them at all. But back there in the back, I'll try to zoom in a little bit. This is Carol Rosamond Robinson, April 24th, 1949 to September 15th, 1963. So there you have 3 of the girls. Now the 4th one is buried in Elmwood Cemetery, which is probably about maybe 10-15 miles from here. So I'm gonna get back in the car and we'll take a little ride. As you can see, like I said, it is right by the airport, so that's why there's a lot of noise. But yeah, so let me get in the car and we'll drive to the final resting place of McNair. Okay, now we're here at Elmwood Cemetery to pay our respects to the last of the young girls, Carol McNair. And here's her family plot. Chris McNair family. And here she is. Let me back up a little so you can see. Carol Denise McNair, November 17th, 1951 to September 15th, 1963. She loved all, but a mad bomber hated her kind. Now, she was the oldest child born to Chris and Maxine McNair. She attended Center Street Elementary School, where she was friends with Condoleezza Rice. She was a member of the Old Brownies. She played baseball. She raised money for charity. Her father, Chris McNair, he was served in the Alabama House of Representatives and later on the Jefferson County Commission. You know, when I read sad stories such as this and what happened to the church that morning, I often wonder what these little girls would have turned out to be. Some may be teachers, you know, who knows, you know, doctors, people who cured cancer, you know. And let me tell you a little bit about the four guys. I don't really want to give a whole lot about them, but the four were Bobby Cherry, and he died in 2004 and buried in Texas. Herman Cash, he died in 1994 before he could be tried in the bombing case, and he's buried in Georgia. Thomas Blanton died in 2020. And like I said, Robert Chambliss, the one that they convicted earlier, he's actually buried in the same cemetery, but he died in 1985. So that's about it. I'm going to take you to his where he's laid to rest or buried, and rest in peace to Carol McNair, you know, Addie Mae Collins, Cynthia Wesley, it's sad, you know. It's just truly sad. And not to mention Carol Robinson. I'm not sure, but I know one of the girls, when the bomb went off, it decapitated them, and I think Carol Robinson was that girl. I'm not sure, but I think that's the story. Anyway, let's go, and I'll show you the where one of the guys is laid to rest. And here's Robert E. Chambliss, one of the bombers, 1904 to 1985. He also went by Bombing Bob because he had was known to bomb black families' homes and businesses. And that is him. You know, sometimes I'm asked, why do I do this? And it's fascinating to me that in the same cemetery, not too far, you have the likes of Paul Bear Bryant, who welcomed people of all color, nationality. Yeah, it might have been to play on a football team. You also have a Catholic priest that I plan on doing a little short story about in the near future. He was murdered by a Klansman because he overseen the marriage of a white lady to an Hispanic male, and he was murdered. And then you have in the same cemetery people like Robert Chambliss here, who for no reason other than just having hatred in his heart, him along with 3 other people decided to end the lives of 4 little girls, not to mention the injuries, so many injuries that happened that day.